All right, so today you are going to be focusing on the climax. If you don't remember what climax is, go back to lesson 2.1 and watch the mini lesson again and write down the definition of climax. Pause the video and write this down in your notebook. Today's date is 10/16/2020. And the climax begins as soon as the antagonist, so the bad guy or the enemy, or the protagonist makes a major change from how they were in the exposition and rising action. So it has to be a significant change. Remember, okay, this is important. You must know the motivation and the personality of the protagonist and antagonist so that you recognize when one or both change in some way. So the climax is all about change. Pause and write this down in your notebook. You will know the climax has ended because the main conflict has been resolved, which means fixed, and the protagonist and or the antagonist will continue to show their new personality or achieve their new goal. So for example, in Finding Nemo, he needed to escape the dentist, but he was always scared because of his broken fin. So he got a little bit of motivation from the boss fish because he also had a broken fin, so he told him that never stopped me from trying, but still Nemo was afraid. So remember, he tries to put the rock and he gets scared because he gets sucked in and he fails the first time, but then just something inside him changes and he's like, I want to see my dad. So he tried the plan again and the tank got dirty and the dentist put him on the little pad. And eventually, go watch Finding Nemo if you want to really know what happens. But long story short, Nemo gets flushed down the drain and he escapes. So the difference between Nemo's first escape is he was scared. And he tried it, but he was scared and he failed. And that's been Nemo's thing the whole movie, was like he's just scared because his fin was different. But by the end, by the climax, not the end, by the climax, he gets brave and he changes. And something in him is just like, no, Nemo, like you're going to do this. And he escapes. So it's the same situation, but Nemo changed as a character and Nemo became brave and escaped. So you're going to pause this video and write this down in your notebook. The climax does not last for a very long time in stories, okay? It's the change happens fairly quickly. It doesn't really last a long time. So even when like Nemo tried to escape, that scene was maybe 3 minutes long out of like a hour and a half movie. So it's very important to recognize what was the character's personality in the beginning and their goal in the beginning, and what is their personality like, when does that change, okay? So the climax, it doesn't last a long time, and that's really important for you to also remember. And it's usually exciting, but it can also be subtle, which means like a little bit hidden or hard to see. So that's why you really need to pay attention to what the characters are like in the exposition, what the conflict is in the rising action, and how the characters are in the rising action. Because during the climax, you will see the characters change, and then the following resolution, which we'll do on Monday, you'll see how the conflict is resolved. Remember, you will have a notebook check within the next 2 weeks. All strong learners take notes to help support your memory. And if you don't have a notebook, take notes in Google Document and label it Humanities Notes. If you have any questions, just reach out to your teacher. And today's focus is on how the characters have changed and how the relationships have changed.